Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, dangerous and deadly butt procedures.
What happened when you got to the hospital?
They said, ma'am, your daughter has passed away.
This was not an act of God. She was murdered.
And black market injections.
After these injections, she was leaking oil, pus.
I want to ask Dr. Phil what is in my butt.
I'm trying to extract the stuff that's been injected in you.
Tell us what you found out. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. This is flat sealant. This is glue. And this is cement. Now, these are all things people have used to inject into their butts. I'm serious. Lifts and injections to, well, enhance those assets. Brazilian butt lifts, or BBLs as they are also referred to, are a growing trend with often dangerous results. Take a look.
New information tonight on the woman who died after getting an illegal injection in the rear. Police say the suspect gave her silicone injections.
I looked in the mirror and I hated what I saw.
29-year-old Connie Zanigo says the Brazilian butt lift disfigured her.
Tragedy at a South Florida plastic surgery clinic. A young woman dies after a popular procedure. The 28-year-old was there for a Brazilian butt lift.
Her family says she suffered cardiac arrest. Their lives turned upside down.
Earlier this year, Yolani's 28-year-old daughter, Danae Placencia, made headlines when she died immediately after getting a Brazilian butt lift.
It's too early to know what caused the tragedy, but one family member says he knew the surgery was a bad idea.
Just before the surgery, my daughter, Dania, sent me a photo of her in her gown. About 2 hours later, I got a call from the nurse saying, okay, you can come and pick up your daughter. The surgery is finished. About 10 minutes later, she called me back, told me, you have to go straight to the emergency room. She stopped breathing and she's blue. My father, who is a physician, was at my home. He had no idea my daughter was having this procedure done.
I said, what kind of surgical procedure? A Brazilian butt lift? What?
When we got to the hospital, that's when they told me, I'm sorry, but your daughter passed away.
That is the worst news. The worst news of my life.
I started screaming and telling him this is not happening. This is not real. She was laying there covered with a white sheet.
Dania was lying on a metallic stretcher. I was in my mind praying for that person not to be my granddaughter. So I screamed. This was not an act of God. She was murdered. That surgeon killed my granddaughter. No question about it.
My daughter should not have died. Her death should not have happened. These women want to look beautiful, and they're literally dying.
Okay, guys, I'm really glad to meet you, but really sorry for the circumstances. I'm so sorry for your loss. You are a physician, correct?
Yes, doctor.
And doctor, you knew nothing about, you didn't know this was happening?
I was told that she was thinking.
Okay. Yolani, what was your last conversation with your daughter? What did you two talk about, and when was it?
It was that same morning. She told me, Mom, stay home with the babies, and my boyfriend's gonna take me to this procedure. And what kills me is that I did not tell her I loved her. That is the one thing that I will never forget. That I didn't tell her I loved her. I was almost positive that this was not gonna be a dangerous procedure. This was a cosmetic procedure that she was gonna come out of it.
What was her objective? Why did she want to change her look?
Well, she's always had my daughter was beautiful. She's always had a beautiful body. She really didn't need it. But after her third baby, she gained almost 60 pounds. So in her mind, she wanted to look back to the way she was before she had any children.
Okay, so the day of the surgery, and this was May 10th of this year, this photo was taken of her the morning of her procedure. You say that you had planned to pick her up later that day, but instead you had to meet her at the hospital.
Exactly.
And they rushed her from this surgical clinic?
From the clinic
to the hospital.
Straight to the hospital.
What happened when you got to the hospital?
I go, just please take me to my daughter right now. I want to see my daughter. That's when they said, ma'am, your daughter has passed away. I couldn't believe what that doctor was telling me. My child passed away.
Doctor, the cause of death was what?
In my mind was a pulmonary embolism from fat, which is the very frequent event in these types of surgeries.
Stacy's sister, Alicia, flew to the Dominican Republic for a Brazilian butt lift, tummy tuck, all at once, including lipo. Like Danae, she also didn't survive. So we're talking about a second death associated with this procedure. Take a look.
Alicia Williams is a 9th grade English teacher.
Alicia went to the Dominican Republic, a healthy person.
Family members of Williams says she went to the Dominican Republic for medical procedures but passed away days later.
And she came back in a casket. My sister Alicia was absolutely set on having this Brazilian butt lift. You could not change her mind. She wanted to go to the Dominican Republic to get the surgery because it was cheaper and the doctors would do as many surgeries as you wanted at one time. She had been planning this for the last 2 years. She made this book called New Body Under Construction. She had the surgery fees and the after procedures to-do list. I tried to convince her to have this surgery done in the United States because it would probably have been much safer. 2 months ago, Alicia flew to the Dominican Republic. Not only was she going to get a Brazilian butt lift, she was going to have a tummy tuck, she was going to have lipo to the arms and back, and she was going to have hips put in. A few days later, the nurse texted me they were going to take her to the hospital to have a blood transfusion. I was thinking, what is really going on over there? The next morning, I was up getting ready for work, and I noticed that I had missed a few phone calls from the nurse. I called her back, and that's when she told me the devastating news that my sister had passed.
Well, please welcome Alicia's sister, Stacy. So sorry for your loss. I just can't even imagine. You just don't expect that this is going to happen. And you said your sister did tons of research before this procedure, right? This is the notebook that you have?
Yes. She did a lot of research. For about 2 years, she was excited, and she had put in her notebook that she'll be home sweet home in 14 days. Yeah.
You aren't a big fan of this decision.
I wasn't a big fan of her going to the Dominican Republic to get the surgery, but I wasn't opposed to her having the surgery.
Why do you think going out of the country is so dangerous?
I think it was dangerous because, first of all, my sister couldn't speak the language, so she had to communicate through a translator.
Was it cheaper?
I think she spent between $5,000 and $6,000 versus in the United States, for all the things that she had done and wanted done, it would have been about $15,000 to $20,000.
Going to a foreign country, they have different medical rules.
Correct.
Than they have here. They allow too many procedures at one time in a medical, because they know it's a destination. You're coming there to get it all done, so they want to all do it in one trip. And I think this language barrier would be huge, because if you're asking questions or having symptoms, explaining it would be very scary. How did you find out that she had passed?
I got the phone call, and she said, Stacy, I'm sorry to tell you that your sister didn't make it.
Yeah, and I guess people don't know, but the mortality rate with this procedure is 10 to 20 times greater than the average aesthetic surgical procedure performed by accredited physicians. And as many as 1 in 3,000 die, which is huge.
Yes. Definitely.
Now, despite all of these cautionary tales, the Brazilian butt lift is in high demand. Now, we're going to meet a woman who is planning her surgery as we speak and has every intention of moving forward with it. We'll be right back.
I want to get a Brazilian butt lift. I got like no butt. It's like flat. If I could have anybody's butt, it would be Jennifer Lopez.
Carrie, it's scary because there's a lot of people dying from these Brazilian butt lifts.
I know I'll be able to handle the BBL.
Miami cosmetic surgeon says he's seen an 85% increased demand for butt lift surgery, all due to Kim Kardashian.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Now when a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and a round thing in your face.
Nothing but regret. That's what 35-year-old Courtney Barnes may be feeling after having 6 illegal injections that gave her a 60-inch butt.
I'm hooked and I can't stop staring. Oh, baby, I want to get whipped up and take your picture.
Celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian have countless fans, followers, and admirers. But trying to emulate those hourglass figures comes at a very high risk and a high cost. Our next guest, Carrie, says after having 5 children and losing over 100 pounds, she wants to get a butt lift to look like Jennifer Lopez. But her mom is furious and definitely fearful.
Carrie wants to have a Brazilian butt lift, and I am totally opposed to it.
If I stand straight, look at my butt. I got like no butt. It's like flat. I want to get a Brazilian butt lift because I've lost over 100 pounds, and now it looks like my butt is melting off. Feeling beautiful makes me feel more confident, and if there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Carrie, it's scary because there's a lot of people dying from these Brazilian butt lifts. When I was doing research on it, 13 people died in Miami in 1 year alone.
She just thinks it's unsafe, and she doesn't think that it's something that I need. But as long as your research is done and you find a doctor who specializes in it, I'll be okay.
Carrie feels pressure from social media to look a certain way.
If I could have anybody's butt, it would be Jennifer Lopez.
You would want a butt like that?
You wouldn't?
No. I'm concerned about Carrie's health. I mean, my gosh, she's got 5 kids, and who's going to take care of them? Me?
Others have had good experiences, and so can I. I've already had breast implants, and I handled that recovery very well, so I know I'll be able to handle the BBL.
My fear is Carrie's going to walk out the door one day and never come back alive.
Okay, well, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Your daughter's supposed to be sitting right here, but she's having a little anxiety right now.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you were talking about backstage. What's she having to say?
She wants this procedure, and I do not want her to have it. It's scary. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lose my daughter.
How is she finding doctors? How is she vetting them, screening them? How is she going through the selection process?
I don't completely know, but I do know that she is thoroughly researching it. I'm just trying to convince her not to do it.
Yeah. There is one woman who knows all too well that this surgery is not always a solution to what you're looking for. Take a look at this.
I enjoyed my fake ass for a long time, and one day I got up out of bed and I could not walk. It gradually got worse, so I decided to meet with one of the best doctors in Beverly Hills about removing the silicone from my body so that I can really get back to being healthy again. After 2 years of being in pain, not being able to walk, aching every day, it's finally come down to this moment where I'm about to be healthy again. It's been a few days since I had my surgery to remove the silicone, and I've never experienced such hell and pain in my life.
I'm gonna show you something. I've had scars from people all my life, but to have a scar that is never going to heal, and I have to look at it every day.
Eventually, hopefully, you can get to a place where this scar is a reminder that you've overcome yet something else. And I want you to know that you're affecting people in a positive way.
Please welcome to the show R&B superstar K. Michelle. It's so good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being willing to come here and talk about this in a candid way. The fact of the matter is, you made this decision and you have been through hell ever since, correct?
Yes, it was the worst decision of my entire life. It was on the black market, but I went to a person that was well known in my music circle. You know?
And when you say black market, define what he was and was not.
He was not a doctor. He does this in a hotel room. He told us that it was jail, some type of jail or whatever, when it was actually free-floating silicone in your body. So I didn't have any real symptoms until like 5-6 years later.
What made you want to get silicone injections to begin with?
Oh, I just wanted to be real thick. I wanted to, you know, be curvy. And what was so messed up, Dr. Phil, if you pull up like old pictures, I was already curvy.
Were you pleased at the time?
Yes, I was pleased at the time. And then I started to look like an ant, you know, with the big butt and the little legs under you.
Yeah.
I started to look like an ant. And one morning I woke up and my legs gave out.
Really?
Just out of the blue. I just woke up and fell.
Once it goes wrong, it doesn't go kind of wrong.
They had to literally cut my tissue out of me. I have holes in my body. I'm devastated, like scared, terrified.
I want Carrie to hear what you have to say because she is contemplating doing this right now, and I think she's willing to join us. Let's have her come on out. Hi, Carrie. How are you?
Good,
So
how are
good
you?
to meet you. Have a
Nice to
seat.
meet you as well.
I'm sorry that you got delayed coming out. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You're here now. That's the important thing. Please
Hello.
meet K. Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
We've just been talking with K. Michelle, and she had this done how many years ago?
Like 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you want to tell Carrie or anyone in Carrie's situation that's contemplating doing a Brazilian butt lift?
My thing to you is you have to look at the pros and the cons, and you have to look at, okay, if this goes right, then I'm gonna feel like this. But if this goes wrong, how's my mama gonna feel or how my family gonna feel? Know that anything can happen when you do this.
I'm just curious what your motivation is. What do you hope is gonna happen if you do this procedure?
I just want to better myself, for myself, because I lost over 100 pounds, and my bottom kind of looks like it's melting a little bit. That's how I feel.
Right.
And so I just wanted to fill it out a little bit more.
You have to think of the risk-reward ratio. Are the risk worth the potential downside? I mean, you have children.
Yes.
Is the risk for you changing the way you look from behind, is the risk worth those children losing their mother?
Well, not put in that light, but I believe that I would pick a good surgeon and do my research and have trust in who I choose to.
But you understand the mortality rate for this procedure with an accredited surgeon is 10 to 20 times higher than other aesthetic surgeries.
Yes, I know.
Do you know that they had to literally cut my tissue out of me? I have holes in my body. So I have no choice. I have to go back because it's pulling like the skin and causing pain. They told me I was gonna have to redo it. This has been a year process. I'm going into 2 years with this. So I have to go have a reconstructive surgery that I'm supposed to do next week. I'm devastated, like scared, terrified. You know what I'm saying? But I have to do it. I have holes in me.
And this is traveling down your legs now, right?
Yeah.
The silicone is traveling down your legs.
You'll never get it out of your body, all of it. They told me the older I get, it'll go to the bottom of my feet.
Oh.
Once it goes wrong, it doesn't go kind of wrong.
I fought for my life. Like, I had 6 surgeries and 2 blood transfusions in like 3 months.
Wow.
About a butt.
Right. Right.
Come on.
Yeah,
I just wanted to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, and the best version of yourself is alive.
True.
That's the best version. Okay, we're going to meet a woman who says, like Kay Michelle, she got black market butt injections and now she doesn't know how to get them out. We'll talk to her next.
Right here, you feel? I got black market butt injections put into my butt. I thought she was crazy for even thinking about it. The doctors injected me over 40 times. It was in somebody's apartment. It has been the worst mistake of my life. I'm basically disabled.
Well, we're talking about the growing trend of the Brazilian butt lift when fat from your body is lipoed from one spot and then injected into your butt, or getting silicone or other substances injected into it instead. Now, our next guest, Marlene, has been sick for 5 years since her surgery. Take a look.
A little over 5 years ago, I got black market butt injections put into my butt. A lot of celebrities had big, beautiful buttocks. So, I mean, I just wanted to mimic the image, I guess. I asked my sister, Melissa, what her thoughts were about the black market butt injections. I thought she was crazy for even thinking about it. I did not listen to my sister's advice. A few months later, a lot of my friends went to go get these butt injections / lip injections. I had no intentions of getting anything done. The doctor said, well, for $2,000, I'll do it. But since it's you and you're special, I'll do it for $1,000. I thought, what the heck? I'm gonna do it. The doctor who carried out my procedure seemed totally legitimate. He had certificates on the wall. I really thought it was real. He injected me over 40 times. The whole thing just seemed so shady because the doctor didn't really have any licensing. It was in somebody's apartment. It has been the worst mistake of my life. The grossest thing is after she had these injections, she was leaking oil, pus. It was so nasty. To this day, I'm still completely suffering. I'm in constant pain. As I'm sitting down, it starts hurting all over. I have to really sit down slowly. It feels like concrete while I'm sitting down, and it's really, really hard to get up because it hurts so bad that it's stiff. I'm basically disabled. When I look at my sister, her backside is just completely misformed. It's just a mess. It feels like very hard. Right here, you feel? Right here? Hard to the touch. And then it's like hot. I've gone to like more than 5 hospitals and 6 plastic surgeons, and none of them can give me answers. All they can say is, I'm sorry, I hope you find help.
Wow, so this is painful for you every day.
Yes.
And you get from what Kay Michelle was saying.
Yeah, I totally get it.
You totally understand what she's experiencing.
I know exactly what you're going through. I know how it feels. I went in and out, doctors wouldn't even touch it.
Yeah, they see you and then they just say, I'm sorry.
Did you know that what you were getting was black market surgery? You knew this wasn't?
Yes, but a lot of my friends had it done. A lot of local celebrities had it done. So I figured, oh, they're okay. They're up and running.
If you compare the cost of these procedures, like Danae spent $5,000 to $6,000, Marlene spent $1,000, and the average cost for the Brazilian butt lift in U.S., according to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, is $9,150 to $17,000, and you got it for $1,000.
Yes, I really wasn't thinking.
Did you know she was getting black market?
She called me like a week before she did it and said, oh, one of my friends knows this doctor that does these procedures. I'm thinking of doing it. And I told her, don't do it. That just seems completely sketchy. Like, it doesn't seem right. You don't even know who the doctor is. Why would you even do that?
What were the credentials of the person that did this?
I really didn't look into it.
And your person, what was their background?
Oh, he was a hairdresser.
Yeah.
Coming up, we introduced Marlene to not one, but two top plastic surgeons in Beverly Hills to answer her questions. First, as to what exactly was injected into her butt. We're going to find out what those results are. What did they actually put in there? Because that's important in trying to figure out how to get it out. We'll be right back.
Let's take a look. Is this area right here a little sore?
Yes, this area right here is the sore head.
I can feel that she's acutely inflamed there. We don't know exactly what Marlene had injected into her buttocks. We need a little more information.
I really don't know what the doctors injected me with. I have no idea.
To this day, we don't really know. It could be silicone, it could be cement.
I've heard stuff they buy at Home Depot, anything really. I can feel everything moving around in my body. At this point, I can feel all the substance moving down towards my legs. I want to ask Dr. Phil what is in my butt.
Well, we sent Marlene to spend the day with my good friend, Dr. Orden from The Doctors, to see if he could figure out what went wrong with her black market butt injections. Take a look.
I'm Dr. Orden.
Nice to meet you.
This is Dr. Villanueva, my associate. I've had a lot of experience with this type of thing, but he's seen a lot of these kind of cases. Let's take a look. Is this area right here a little sore?
Yes, this area right here is the sore head.
I can feel that she's acutely inflamed there. Look at all this brawny edema here.
Just induration and discoloration.
This obviously is scarring from that open procedure. We don't know exactly what Marlene had injected into her buttocks, but I think we can assume that it was something like industrial grade silicone, and that is not a good thing. We need a little more information. You're feeling tired, a little run down. I want to do a complete blood count. We're going to do a CT scan. This condition absolutely could be life-threatening. These pockets are constantly inflamed. She could have a rip-roaring infection.
I've been through so many doctors. I'm scared of the nose. I just want to get better.
She wants to know exactly what is it that was injected into her body. And at that point, we can make our recommendations.
Well, Dr. Orden, thank you for being here.
We need a show like this. You are going to save lives and help people like your
I
guests.
certainly hope so. You've done the scan. What'd you find?
We found inflammation. We found these pockets of foreign body and inflammation in her buttocks. Should I show you what we found here? These are the gluteal muscles here, but what I want you to pay particular attention to is in here is what we call stranding. You can also see in the muscle that this unknown substance, probably silicone, is in the muscle too. So
it's actually invaded the muscle.
Well, it's everywhere. Same thing on this side. You're seeing what we call this stranding. All of this reaction here is injected silicone. You see areas in here as well.
What's causing the pain? She says anytime she sits down, even when she starts to sit down, stretch the area and sits down.
She has a specific area that's acutely inflamed. On her left side, it's warm to the touch. When I push on it, it hurts. So it's like having an abscess below the skin. And the problem is there that area may get better, but then in a few days, months, whenever, another area may get acutely inflamed and start causing her the same problem.
You also did a blood test.
I wanted to check her white blood cell count, her total blood cell count. So her white blood cells are high, which is indicative of an infection, inflammation that's in her body.
And that's what you feel, right?
And it just doesn't go away.
But we also sent Marlene for a biopsy, and we're going to solve the posterior puzzle once and for all. We'll be right back.
I got black market butt injections.
Do you know what was injected?
No.
What we're gonna do with her is we're gonna try to get a biopsy. Do a little cut with a knife, and you shouldn't feel anything.
Okay, I want to take a second to tell everybody about a new crime podcast series that I've just done called The Devil Beside Me, the Chris Watts story. Husband, father, killer. And on social media, the Watts family seemed perfect, right? You all saw them, and no one in this small, close-knit Colorado town had any idea that this is somebody that was going to be a family annihilator. And that's what we call these people that wipe out their entire family. And when a crime like this occurs, people always look at me and say, Dr. Phil, who does this kind of thing? But when they ask me that question, it's not rhetorical. They really want to know who, so we can spot them, so we know who to look for. Well, in this series, I'm going to go deep inside the mind of a murderer. We're going to find out what somebody says to themselves to make this okay. You'll hear the shocking confession from Chris Watts, what really happened to Shanann, Bella, and Celeste. And I actually sat down with Shanann's family, and I have to tell you, it was life-changing. It's a new mystery and murder analysis by Dr. Phil series. Now listen up, because here's how it works. On your phone or iPad, I'm going to help you find it. Do you know where that little round purple microphone looking thing is? Have you found it?
Oh, I found it.
Okay, you found it. There. Click that, and you click the magnifying glass, and then you go up here and you type in Mystery and Murder Analysis by Dr. Phil. Then you search, and it will come up. And then once you get there, you hit the subscribe button. This is the free podcast app that comes with your phone. Now you can find it on Stitcher, CastBox, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. It doesn't matter. And there are 3 that you can look for. Mystery and Murder Analysis by Dr. Phil. You can find Fill in the Blanks, which is by Dr. Phil, and you can find I've Got a Secret by Robin. She has a lot of fun on hers.
You sure do.
She has a lot better looking logo than I do. All right. So you can get more information about all of the podcasts at drphilpodcast.com. But we really get in depth. Here I have like 42 minutes. There's no time. And I really dig in, and there's no FCC to worry about, so I can talk about anything I want. So be sure and click. I have a new episode dropping every Thursday, Mystery and Murder Analysis by Dr. Phil. Okay, back to the show. Well, we're talking about one of the most controversial and popular surgeries today, the Brazilian butt lift. Now, we did our homework thoroughly and concluded that Marlene needed a biopsy as well as a CAT scan. So we sent her to meet with plastic surgeon Dr. Abulian, who also examined her. Take a look.
Hi.
Hi.
Dr. Abulian.
Morning.
So I understand you had some procedures done.
I got black market butt injections.
Marlene's condition is kind of common. We see that a lot. It's mostly done in the hotel room, places that there's no doctor. Do you know what was injected?
No.
What we're gonna do with her is we're gonna try to get a biopsy, see if we can extract some of the stuff that was in there. Disinfect the area, clean it up, and I'll make an incision, extract whatever's in there. You're gonna feel a little bit of cold, a little prick. I'm gonna do a little cut with a knife. You shouldn't feel anything. I'm trying to extract, squeeze out some of the stuff that's been injected in you.
Okay, please welcome Dr. Abulian, who has teamed up with Marlene to figure out what's going on. So thank you for being here. It's good to see you. Tell us what you found out.
We found silicone in there. I was lucky to find a little pocket where I was able to make an incision and squeeze some of that silicone out. And I brought some of it with me. It's stuff like that. And that's why when you go in there, you can't take all of this stuff out because it just extravasates into the tissue. And if you're going to have to take it out, you're going to have to take out normal tissue with it.
And Dr. Phil, the statistics that you quoted are correct. That it became the most dangerous procedure that we were doing as plastic surgeons, and that the mortality rate, 1 out of 3,000, extremely high. What that did, that encouraged our society, American Society of Plastic Surgeons, to study why this was happening. We found it's all related to fat being injected too deeply. So the whole protocol now for doing a Brazilian butt lift has changed, that we have to inject superficially only, and that being said, nothing is completely safe. It is much, much safer. So the numbers you quoted, we're working to make this a safer operation with where we put that fat.
Well, as we've seen today, there are a lot of good plastic surgeons out there, and we're going to meet one trying to save lives when we come back. You know, we have been doing this here on this stage for 17 years, now starting our 18th, and we have seen some really bad results. And we've had a woman that had basically cement injected into her face. I want to welcome Dr. Mila Bennett, also known as the plastic surgeon to the stars in Atlanta, having appeared on shows like Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Braxton Family Values. And Dr. Mila, you talk to patients about it very straight up, right?
Right before I started my practice, I was working in a liposuction center, and I would come in contact with all these ladies who were basically poor, and they were African American, and they were getting disfigured all over Atlanta with doctors who weren't really plastic surgeons, and their motivation in going to those places was the price. So I started 3 years ago just talking about how to choose safely, how to research, because you hear everyone saying, do your research, do your research. A lot of the most unethical doctors out there are the ones who have the most marketing spend, and they spend the most time on social media, like finding new victims, essentially.
And that's the trend. Patients go to social media as a source. To use that as your number one source is not the right way to go.
What does she do? What's in her future?
What I would recommend for Marlene is putting her on a couple medications, a tetracycline and a steroid, to help calm down that inflammatory reaction that's going on. Once we calm things down, we can make things better. That's the key. We can't make them perfect. We could go back in, remove more of the silicone to make it better.
All right. And you're willing to help her with that?
For you two, for this show, I'm willing to do that for you. with the help of Dr. Villanueva.
Dr. Villanueva, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, look, I really hope this show has been a cautionary tale. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a very special thanks to my friend and host of The Doctors, Dr. Orton, as well as Dr. Andre Aboulian. Thank you so much. We also want to thank Mink Radiology Imaging in Beverly Hills for providing Marlene's CAT scan. And I'd like to thank Dr. Mila Bennett as well. I'd also like to thank R&B singer, songwriter, and reality TV star Kay Michelle. Thank you for talking about everything. Be sure to check out Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, which airs Mondays at 8 p.m. And thanks to all of my other guests today. I'm really appreciate you guys sharing your stories here. I hope it will make people think. And again, I'm so sorry for your loss. For more information about today's show, you can log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks, and my true crime podcast, Mystery and Murder Analysis by Dr. Phil. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.